Paul DeVoe, better known as Gangxta Ridd, was raised in Carson, California, in a big Samoan American family with 7 brothers. Paul and his siblings were engaged with the Bloods, and the DeVoe brothers were drawn to gang life. He wasn't just a kid on the streets, he was a visionary who saw music as a way to escape. He would dance with the Blue City Strutters all day long with his siblings, using their moves to express their joy and suffering. Boo-Yaa T.R.I.B.E became well-known after touring Japan in the mid-1980s and performing as the Blue City Crew. In 1988, Paul and his brothers returned to California and became Boo-Yaa T.R.I.B.E. Like Paul, the name was audacious, representing the sound of a shotgun being fired, and stood for Too Rough International Boo-Yaa Empire. His alter ego, Gangxta Ridd, was a homage to the community where he was raised while simultaneously protecting the weaker heart underneath. Together with his brothers, he developed a unique style that included powerful metal guitar riffs, groovy bass lines, raw gangster rap, and the heartfelt Samoan harmonies they performed at church. They brought Samoan pride to a hip-hop world that had never seen anything like them before. They were more than simply rappers, they were a family, with each brother being a giant both physically and heart. Paul's love letter to his heritage was their debut album, New Funky Nation, which featured gutty stories of hustle, loyalty, and survival. Songs like Raid encapsulated his rich, authoritative voice and described to the world what it was like to grow up Samoan in Carson. Rapping over the anguish of loss and the hope of greatness, he devoted himself to his solo release, Occupation Hazardous. Paul's soul was exposed in every lyric, which was genuine. During the 1990s, Suge Knight, a man whose name alone could make others nervous, dominated West Coast hip-hop. Despite his notorious bullying tactics as the head of Death Row Records, Paul and his brothers remained unfazed. Family came first, and they had dealt with worse on the streets of Carson. Paul believed that Boo-Yaa T.R.I.B.E terrorizing Suge was never about being a bully, but rather about standing up for what was important. One story in particular jumps out. The brothers, under the leadership of Paul, allegedly visited Death Row's offices over a commercial issue. The room's atmosphere was altered simply by their presence. Paul's purpose was to defend his family's art, music, and honor, not to engage in battle. He had witnessed the industry devour artists, and he refused to let his brothers suffer the same fate. On another occasion, they defended Eminem from a rival gang influence group. This resulted in their collaboration on 911 in 2003. For Paul, such encounters were about loyalty rather than power. He was a man who carried his family's dreams on his wide shoulders, who had lost his friends to the streets, and who understood the price of disrespect. Paul's life was about people, not just music or street cred. On Another Body Murdered, he worked with artists such as Faith No More, utilizing Samoan harmonies to create a metal rap mashup that astounded listeners. The deaths of his brother Ted in 2018 and Danny in 2022 left him grieving, and he kept both tragedies to himself. Despite his best efforts, Paul died on December 4, 2020, at the age of 52, from renal failure brought on by COVID-19 virus. The hip-hop community was devastated by the news. Ice-T, a fellow rapper and Paul's friend, sent an emotional tweet bidding his friend farewell. Gangxta Ridd bore the burden of being a pioneer, the scars of Carson streets, and the loss of brothers. However, he also carried hope, which he infused into every line, harmony, and choice he made that put music ahead of violence. The tale of Gangxta Ridd is one of a man who gave his all in battle and love, leaving a legacy.